Not everyone sees, hears, or navigates dashboards and reports the same way. Some people rely on screen readers, some people can see certain colors, and some people get overwhelmed by visual clutter. But the issue is that we still don't create reports and dashboards with these users in mind. And the world is becoming progressively inclusive, and as people in data, we can't be left out or be different. Hi everyone, it's Isi here, and in today's video we'll be talking about accessibility in Power BI, why it is important, what is available right now, and what you can do today to make your report much more inclusive. Accessibility in reporting simply means creating reports and dashboards that everyone can use regardless of their disabilities or their abilities. Imagine a situation where someone cannot read or navigate your charts or slicers or cannot understand your color-coded KPIs. The entire story you're trying to pass or information that you're trying to pass is completely missed at that particular point in time. So we must aim to remove the friction and make our reports much more accessible for people with need. When you make it accessible to those people, you make it easier for everyone to understand your reports and your dashboards. Power BI has a lot of accessibility features. Let's get right into it. In Microsoft Learn, there's a whole section on accessibility. You can have an in-depth look at it. But right now, we're just going to focus on the accessibility features that Power BI already has built into it. So here are a few of them: keyboard navigation, screen reader compatibility, high contrast colors view, focus mode, and show data table. So these things can be done and they don't require any configuration. So let's go to Power BI. And the keyboard navigation would help users to move through the report without a mouse, but to be able to see the keyboard shortcuts. If you press Shift and question mark, these are the keyboard shortcuts, so different shortcuts for different situations. Let's just have a look at a few of them. So once I press tab, I can go through the report easily. And let's say I wanted to focus on this particular one. If I press enter, and then if I also press shift and enter, it takes me to the bit about depression. And then to go back, I just need to press escape, and then I'm out of there. There are other keyboard shortcuts that can also be used if you just want to look through it. So that would be shift and question mark for you to view that. Power BI also works with screen readers. Most computers have screen readers already pre-installed, but people who use screen readers have the ones that they prefer to use. On your computer, you can just type in narrator. That's if you use Windows. And once you open that, it begins to read what is on screen. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can go ahead and test that out. I'm going to show data table from this particular visual, and the shortcut for that is pressing Alt, Shift, and F11. So once I press that, it shows me this table. It's very useful for people with screen readers because that way they can see the column headers, rows, and even the descriptions that are there. So this is also a really good feature that Power BI has. The final feature we'll be looking at is the high contrast view. When a user enables high contrast mode, Power BI adapts the visual theme to sort of improve readability, but this can also be done through Power BI as well. So this is, I'm just going to click on edit here, and then I would go on to view, and then you can see the different contrasts available for users that may have visual impairment or people with light sensitivity or color deficiencies. So they can view the report like this. Most of the time, they already have their windows already set or their computers already set to the high contrast. So Power BI just automatically detects that and sets the mode for them. Practical ways that we can make our reports or dashboards more inclusive. And the first one would be to check color contrast like a designer. So there are certain guidelines that are available for web content, accessibility for web content, and that's what's called WCAG 2.0, right? So there are three standards: A, AA, and AAA. AAA being the highest level. So when you want to check out the like text color or background that you want to use, you can type in the hex code for the different text colors or background that you want to use just to make sure that it is compliant. So let me just put a random number, and then let's reduce it. So it says it here that it passes AA, But let me increase that to AAA. It also says that it passes AAA. So you can go ahead to try out your own colors and backgrounds and see if it actually passes the guidelines that have been set in place. There's also a different website for this as well. It's called the color contrast checker. You can use that as well. I'm going to put the link of the both of them. They also are based on the different standards that have been set. So in here it does show contrast ratio and what it should be. So this is the highest level and what it should be, but these two can be used. It says there that regarding colors, the standard defines two levels of contrast ratio: minimum contrast and enhanced contrast. So you can have a look at them, and you can also try on putting on different colors for different things and see how it works. It shows here that this is a very really poor, so we wouldn't be able to use that. But I like this other one because it shows when it's compliant or not. While colors are powerful, it's important that you also don't rely on them alone, because sometimes people don't see color the same way. Typically, we know that green represents growth or something good, and then red represents something bad or a decline. Some people won't see that, so you have to add another cue to show that, oh, this is indicative of a growth or a decline. And in this case here, this up arrow just indicates that there is an increase. So if somebody who cannot see green looks at this, they can see with the arrow that it's indicating growth here. Adding icons are very good. Also, adding text labels also really good as well. Another thing would be adding meaningful alternative text. So adding text to your visuals to give it more context is very good. So if you click on this, for instance, and then you go on to format, under properties, you see alt text, and you can just go ahead to type a card showing hospital visits over different time periods. And you can also use AI to write it better depending on you, but this helps people that use screen readers. So when a screen reader comes up, it can detect the alternative. So I really do advise that you actually make it clearer so that the user sort of understands. So here I just written a card showing hospital visits over different time periods. So if I was speaking about the line chart, I would talk about how the hospital visits have been steady over a particular point in time, instead of just saying a line chart showing hospital visits. So it's very important that you're also clear so that when people use screen readers, they understand the point that is being passed across without even seeing the chat. The next thing would be to simplify your layout. You need to make sure that your visuals actually give the insight that you're trying to share. Sometimes we tend to put in so many visuals in one report, and sometimes it can create a lot of noise for people with cognitive disabilities. So make sure that any visual you're putting on your chart is actually providing information to the user, and then use a lot of white space as well. I'm just looking at this one. Make sure that you give it enough spacing just so that it is clear. The next thing would be to set a logical tab order. I'm just going to close this. So if someone clicks on this report now, for instance, they're using their keyboard, I've scattered the order, so it's going to be all messy. It would go from this to this to this to this, so it's not arranged at all. Power BI already makes it very easy to have this all done. All you just need to do is go to the selection pane here, and it's either you order it yourself, but just to save you the stress, if you click on this here that says have tab order match visual order, once I do that, it should all be sorted. So I'm going to use tab now and see how it goes. Okay, it's well ordered now and it goes in the right direction. So just this little changes here and there makes a lot of difference. It's also really important that you use readable fonts. Sometimes we do tend to use tiny fonts. I know that in this report I have used some tiny fonts and I will have that updated. So it's best to stick to 12 points or larger, because sometimes the way we write our fonts very tiny, it does exclude people in a way. So making it readable means you're also making it inclusive and making it easy for somebody with low vision to be able to see. This takes about 5 minutes to apply, but they make your dashboard or reports more user-friendly, more accessible, and easier to understand. I've also included a guided checklist in this video. You can go ahead and check it out and use it to make your reports more inclusive. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Remember that accessibility is not just a feature, it's more of a mindset, and use that to make your reports more inclusive. Don't forget to share this video if you have found it helpful. Also like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.